Gotta get my notes so that we don't make this a 40-minute long video like last time. Okay, I'll do the intro. Don't! This is gonna be a long video if you act like this all the time. Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Bailey Turner, also known as Body Fit Balance on Instagram. And today we are gonna be refilming our first trimester Q&A. We recorded this, what, like 5 weeks ago?
Right before we left.
But we had to refilm it. We're refilming it now because it cut out when our dog started barking. Yeah, so we only got like half the video. But it's kind of a good thing because I rambled a lot in that video, so I was able to write down a bunch of notes and kind of give a good condensed version of all of the questions instead of going through every single question that we got. It's gonna be less rambly. So I figured that would be helpful for you guys, trying to break it up into, you know, getting off birth control, our miscarriage, and then going into pregnancy symptoms before we tested positive, and then like week by week. So, and then we'll answer some questions at the end that you guys had. So let's get into it. I get so out of breath.
All right, so we are having a baby girl in December. Her due date is 12/12/22.
Really? Come on, man. I'm currently almost 20 weeks pregnant. I'm like a little over 19. We have our anatomy scan next week, so I'm in my second trimester, but we're doing a first trimester recap. I'll try to include maybe a little bit of how I've been feeling and stuff, since it's very different from the first trimester. But yeah, to start, we're having our little girl in December. So first I wanted to just touch on that I got off birth control over 2 years ago. Was it May of 2020? So that, I think, helped a lot with our like fertility journey. I can't say that for certain because we didn't start trying until this past like winter. So I don't really know for sure, but I'm really glad I got off birth control when I did, and we just used like natural family planning to prevent pregnancy up until that point. I don't know what my fertility would be like had I stayed on it longer. I just knew that I needed to get off when I did. I have a whole birth control video, so I won't go too in depth on it, but I just wanted to preface that I did get off birth control 2 years before trying, just in case I didn't want anything to like mess with our fertility going into wanting to start trying for children. All right, so a lot of people ask like, when did we know we were ready to start trying? And I would say in December, I got my period 4 days late, or my period hadn't come and it was like 4 days late. We were on our way back to Wisconsin for Christmas, and I decided to take a pregnancy test. It was negative, and we were really bummed out about it, even though we knew like it was most likely going to be negative because we weren't trying. But that's kind of like when we knew we wanted to start trying, when we were bummed out that it wasn't positive. So we were like, oh, like maybe we'll start thinking about trying in the next couple months. So that's what we did. We started trying in February, and I'm the type of person that needs to track everything. Like I love as much like data about my period and stuff as I can get. So I didn't want to just like try on a whim without knowing like when I ovulated and all that jazz. So I immediately ordered ovulation test strips off of Amazon. I'll link them all in the description box below for you guys, but the strips are way cheaper than like the big tests, and you can put them into an app and it kind of tells you when you have your peak, and you're supposed to test like up to 3 times a day because you can peak in the morning, afternoon, or at night. So I just started testing like a few days before my period tracking app Flow told me I was gonna ovulate. So I believe I ovulated, sometime in February. We decided to try like a few days around that. So I think we tried like, they recommend trying every other day leading up to ovulation, and then the day of ovulation and like the day after. And I'll link a bunch of books in the description box for you guys because obviously they explain it way better than I can, but those are some of the books that I read to kind of understand ovulation and all of that jazz. So I started tracking my ovulation. We tried in February. We were lucky enough to get pregnant right away, which we were super happy about. And then what happened was I got a positive. We were really excited. I started bleeding and I was like, well, this is really weird. And I was about like a little over 5 weeks. And then I started bleeding. I called my doctor and just said, hey, like I got positive, but now I'm starting bleeding. They're like, okay, well, we'll get you in to do some labs to get my HCG drawn. So I got my HCG drawn and it confirmed that I was pregnant, but they wanted me to come back in 2 days to make sure it was going up. So I came back in 2 days. Our friends were here visiting and I was a nervous wreck because I just felt like something wasn't right. I just knew like, my heart just like wouldn't let me accept the fact that I was pregnant because it just didn't feel right. So, and I was still kind of spotting a little bit. And then I went back in, my HCG was higher, it doubled. So I was like, oh, this is exciting. We got our kind of hopes up a little bit. But then over the weekend, I started bleeding a little bit more, was cramping, had some spotting, and like my pregnancy symptoms were gone, like my boobs weren't tender anymore, and things just felt different. So I called again and said, hey, can I come in? I took a pregnancy test too, like after my symptoms had gone away a little bit and I was still spotting. And sure enough, my test was much lighter than before, and I went in and it showed that my levels were declining and not going up. So that confirmed like us miscarrying, which was really sad. But we knew we wanted to try again right away. I had heard like stories of amazing women that got pregnant right away after. So I was like, I think we should just try because I know it will be sad if we like put it off. So we tried again, and I actually ovulated a little bit sooner than what I would have before I miscarried. So I tested ovulation right after like our miscarriage. I want to say like a week after I started testing. I ended up ovulating. We tried again and we got pregnant with now our rainbow baby. So that I just wanted to touch on that because there were a lot of questions about like our miscarriage and everything and kind of like what we went through for that. And yeah, we got pregnant right away after, which was very exciting, and we're very lucky because I know that doesn't happen for everyone. Now I want to talk about signs and symptoms before we got our BFP, which is our big fat positive. I was having a lot of very vivid dreams. Like I never really typically dream, but I was dreaming a lot, and they were very strange dreams. I remember waking up and just telling Zach them right away because I was like, what did I just dream? And they felt so real. Achy boobs, especially on the sides. I was wearing my Aura ring at the time, which I plan to do a whole video on my Aura ring because I really like it, but I ended up I'm not using it anymore because I was a head case the first trimester. But up until like, I want to say 8 weeks, I was using my Aura ring, and I noticed that my temp was risen. Usually before my period, my temp starts to dip down again. So after ovulation, your temp increases, and then it stays risen if you're pregnant, and it drops down if you're gonna get your period. So I noticed my temp was rising, and some of the temps were like way higher than it was before I got pregnant, so I would like compare cycles. I had really clear skin. Usually before periods I break out, and I was kind of tired. Those are like my very few symptoms that I had before I got my positive. Then one day, the day before I got my positive, so this was on 7 DPO, so days past ovulation, our friends came over for a little bit, and I was spinning their little boy around, like playing with him, and I got so out of breath. And then on a walk, I got so out of breath, and I was like, this is so weird. And I told Zach, I was like, this is like the weirdest symptom. Like, so of course I was like Googling on every forum I could find, out of breath 7 DPO. Like that was like the theme of like searching symptoms. I was crazy head case. So some people were like, oh yeah, I was so out of breath at 5 DPO or 7 DPO. So I was like, okay, I'm pregnant. And then 8 DPO, I think we were going to pick up the challenge girls for like a hike or something. And I took a test really early in the morning, and it was super, super faint, like very faint. Zach couldn't even see it at first. And I was like mad at him. I was like, it's positive. And then the next day I ended up taking a digital and a regular like first response, and both of those came back positive. And that's when we knew like we were pregnant again. But of course, like I was still very anxious because I got a positive on a digital last time. I got positive pregnancy test last time. Like I knew that I wasn't in the clear. I knew that a lot of things could happen. So I ended up calling my doctor right away and just saying, hey, I'm pregnant again. Could I get in for some blood work just to make sure everything's, you know, going well? Even though I didn't have any bleeding this time, I felt just in my heart that this was going to go a lot better. So I got in for some beta HCG draws, which you can request even if you don't have a history of miscarriage. Try to advocate for yourself and say, hey, I really want to get my blood drawn. Obviously you still have to pay for it, but it was like, I don't know, I just felt very at ease when I got it done. So at 11 days past ovulation, it was 138, and then we went in 2 days later and it was 344, and then I think we went in a third time a few days later and it was like in the 2000s.
I think it was 2,108.
I should look.
Pretty sure that's what it was.
Really? That's pretty good if you're right. That's when we knew like our numbers were higher that time, and we knew that we were, you know, it was on track to being, you know, a healthier pregnancy than the last time. So now I'm going to go through symptoms like week by week of what I felt, because that was really helpful for me to watch videos on like what people were going through, because I didn't have like crazy morning sickness. I wasn't puking my guts out. I had days where I felt like completely normal, and I was a head case like the first at least 8 weeks. I would be like, Zach, I don't feel pregnant today. Like,
yeah, it was rough.
It was really rough. Even with like
it was exhausting more than anything, I guess.
Yeah, but you were good. You were like reassuring me.
Yeah, I was. But then
it
you
was
started like making me second.
Well, yeah, so. I would like sometimes I wouldn't tell Zach if I had like a day where I would feel normal, because then he'd be like, "Do we need to go in? Is everything okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like everything feels fine." But that's a bad thing. Like I feel like I should be puking my guts out, but I wasn't.
Yeah, that was like the biggest thing. You were worried that you weren't sick enough.
Yeah, and then I was like texting like my friend like Sarah, because she was never sick with her kids, and I was like, it feels bad that I have days where I feel good and I'm not puking and I'm not feeling like crap. Like, is this normal? She's like, yeah, I felt fine the whole time. And I was like, what the heck? Versus my mom, like my mom was really sick with her pregnancies. My cousins were sick. Like, so I was just trying to like see, you know, what was normal. But really, truly, nothing's normal. Everybody is so different. And you might be really, really sick, or you might feel perfectly fine. So week 5, I was so hungry. So from the time I found out to like the end of week 5, I was a bottomless pit. I ate so much. I have never eaten fast food so much in my life. I think we ate Culver's like 2 days in a row. I made Zach get me bagels from Einstein Bros, like what, 3 days in a row?
With the, what was
jalapenos.
it? No, the
Cholula.
Cholula, yeah.
Yeah, that's another question that people had. What's your reader's craving? Week 5, I ate jalapeno bagels with cream cheese and Cholula every day for like over 10 days. And now I like won't even look at it because it just grosses me out. Because I ate it way too much. I was constipated, which Ducalax and lots of water helps with that. I also try to eat more like pears and apples. I was very tired, sore boobs, insomnia, like I couldn't sleep at night, I was restless, and then mild cramping, which I was very worried about the cramping because I had cramping before and it wasn't good. But my doctor and everybody else on the internet reassured me that it is normal to cramp. Your uterus is stretching and growing, and it's normal to feel like period-like cramping. If it's like very painful, then that's a different story. But it's like a little bit uncomfortable and it just feels like period-like cramping. I had that for, I would say, up to like 7-8 weeks, and I still kind of get it now, but it's like more around ligament pain now because again, everything is stretching and growing. Week 6 through 11, I had very sore boobs. My boobs started to become veiny and like much larger. Lots of lotion like CM, that's a little TMI, but I was like, when I had discharge, I was like, okay, is this normal discharge? Like, I'm not really sure. I couldn't really find much on it on the internet. But yeah, I had like lotiony like CM and a lot of it. CM stands for cervical mucus. Food aversion started around week 6, and they didn't like end until like end of week 11, starting of week 12, I would say. That was probably the worst symptom that I had. Nothing sounded good. Like, I would make Zach go to the store and be like, I'm really hungry for this, this, and this right now, and he'd get back after getting it, and we live like 5 minutes from a grocery store, and I wouldn't want it. Like, everything sounded gross, but if something did sound good, I would need it like right then and there, or else I wouldn't eat it. I ate a lot of McDonald's, a lot of fast food, a lot of ramen, cereal, really liked watermelon. What else? Chips. Literally all of the junk.
Yeah.
Like a vegetable, I don't think I ate a vegetable for like 11 weeks. And then also, we didn't cook a home cooked meal for weeks.
Well, I would try cooking something and then you'd get like really sick. Or not sick, just like disgusted.
Oh, I would just feel queasy. Like, I never puked from it or anything, but he would like cooking bacon or chicken or shrimp. And I'd have to go in our room because it just stunk so bad. I had a lot of bloating. I literally felt like 6 months pregnant when I was about 6 weeks pregnant. I think also constipation didn't make that any better. Constipation did get better, I would say, around week 7. Insomnia, restlessness, like it was just hard to sleep at night, but I was so tired during the day, so I napped a ton during the day, which probably helped with like the queasiness that I would sometimes feel. Whenever I let myself get hungry, I'd feel queasy, but again, nothing to make me feel like I was gonna throw up. Just kind of felt bleh. Very tired. Literally, I've never been more exhausted in my entire life. It was wild. Nothing sounded good to eat, only every once in a while, typically only junk food or fast food. Working out made me feel worse, like I would overheat and just feel like crap. I remember I went to work out with Zach one day, and we were filming for one of our guys, and I did the full workout. And then, like, towards the end of the workout, I was like, Zach, I feel really hot. And he was done with his workout, so we decided to leave. And we were just pulling into our driveway, and I was like, oh, I do not feel good. And I had to get out of the car, and I puked in our front yard. And it was like, oh, I felt terrible. But then after I puked, I felt fine. And then I puked again. So I only puked twice in the first trimester. Again, getting my hair done at the salon, I just felt like I got overheated really fast. And I think smelling, like, certain things that she was using on my hair, it just, I don't know, made me feel nauseous. Week 12, I started to have less food aversions and a little bit more energy and started sleeping better at night. And I will also say I lost, I think 1 or 2 pounds the whole first trimester. I didn't really gain much. I'm starting to gain more now. I think I'm up like probably 10 to 12 pounds total. So I've been gaining a lot more, but I think it's also because I'm working out again. And so like I didn't work out at all. So I feel like I lost a ton of muscle and I'm starting to like gain it a little bit back. Now I'm working out more. I feel more energized. I have like no food aversions. I do get hot very easily and I get really mad, like irrationally upset when we're on walks. Like I get mad at Zach, even though it's not Zach's fault that it's 110 degrees outside. I'm moody. I'm more moody now, I feel like. And big boobies. Like my boobs have grown so much. And I was leaking the other day, so that's new. I will say I started showing around like 15 weeks, and then I just kept getting bigger from there, I feel like. All right, now we're getting into the Q&A portion. Okay, Zach's taking an allergy pill quick, so I'll answer some of these. I feel like I'm doing most of the talking, but that's kind of expected, with especially symptoms and stuff. So a lot of people ask how long it took us to get pregnant. Again, we got pregnant right away, which we were very thankful for. I tracked ovulation. I did everything I could to prepare myself the best. Like I didn't know if I was gonna have fertility problems. I had been off birth control for 2 years and just naturally prevented pregnancy. And yeah, I tracked ovulation with Pregmate and using the app, found my peaks, and then we just tried from there. We knew that if we weren't going to get pregnant, within 6 to 8 months, then we would try to get testing done, but we didn't have to do that, thankfully. I did limit my caffeine. I think I stopped drinking caffeine in January when I knew we might start wanting to try, just because I had heard that helps with like lowering stress in the body. So that's one thing I did that was like different, I would say. Another question was, what apps do I use to track pregnancy? I use Flow, Ovia, and What to Expect. Flow is my period tracking app. Ovia I like because it shows you how big the hands and feet are. It's so cute. And then What to Expect is a great app too for tons of information. How did I tell Zach? Zach?
How did you tell me?
Yeah.
The day of?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He was literally, every time I took a test, he was like almost in the bathroom with me. Like even if I would have found out, like I couldn't have surprised him or anything because he was like right there being like, okay, what is it? Or I would just show him right away.
Yeah.
And I took it right away in the morning, so like we were both at home and everything. We told our sisters right away. Those were like the two first people that we told. And then we told like our really, really close friends. And then we waited to tell parents until like a little after 8 weeks. We actually flew back to Wisconsin, surprised them for Mother's Day and told them, which was really fun. They were really excited. I feel like our moms kind of knew that it was like going to happen though. Like they were excited, but they kind of knew that it was going to happen because of like what happened the previous month. First doctor's appointment, what was it like? What to expect? Do you want to answer this?
What was it like?
Yeah.
Like the first time?
The 6 week, when we went in for the 6 week reassurance.
It was very, I don't know, I was very nervous going into it just because of what happened last time. And I don't know, I was excited too, obviously, but it was really cool, and it's probably the one that like stands out the most to me just because that was when we heard the heartbeat the first time.
Yeah. So they wanted us to come at 6 weeks because of what happened before, just to like reassure us that, you know, there was a baby, it was growing just as it should be and everything. So we went in, we got an ultrasound, and we got to see the heartbeat for the first time, and that was like so surreal because we didn't get to do that before. And then at 8 weeks, we had another ultrasound, and they did blood work there. They took my height, weight. You got to talk to a doctor, ask them any questions that you had. The blood work tests for, and they took your urine too. So they test for like STDs, stuff like that. And then they test for like protein in your urine. And then for blood, they do like a total CBC to make sure you're not anemic or anything. I don't think they tested HCG, but if something had been wrong on the ultrasound, then they would have. Yeah, and they test for a few other things. I don't really remember, but I think every doctor is different. But you get some blood work done, your urine taken, and then your like height and weight and everything. The first ultrasound I feel like is very nerve-wracking, especially if you like have had a loss before, because you don't know if you're like gonna go in. I mean, it's nerve-wracking for anyone because you're gonna go in and like if you're not gonna see a heartbeat, or if you're gonna, you know, it's scary. So I won't lie and say it's like all what I say, sunshine and rainbows.
No, that is the right thing.
Do I say butterflies and rainbows?
You say butterflies and sunshine and
no,
butterflies and rainbows.
Okay, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but it's very nerve-wracking.
When I feel like you were nervous, like at everyone outside of like the 12-week and like the 16-week.
Yeah, because I can listen to our baby's heartbeat like whenever I want, so I know that they're gonna be okay.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So like so I found the baby's heartbeat on the Doppler at
right
nine and a half weeks, which is very early. And a lot of people say don't even try till like 12 to 14. But after watching lots of YouTube videos, I was certain I was going to find it. It did take a little bit, but once I found it, it was pretty much almost in the same spot every time because it was so little. But yeah, I can link the Doppler that we use in the description box below if you're interested. It totally helped with anxiety from 9 weeks on. So I'd highly recommend it. How I modified working out. I just don't really do hip thrusts anymore. I try to keep my heart rate below 160. Don't really do sprints. Never really did that before. I can't really lay on my belly like when I'm doing like prone hamstring curls or stuff like that. Don't really do that anymore. That's really it, truthfully. Does this mean we are working on a pregnancy guide? Yes, I'm actually getting certified. Like I'm doing a pre and postnatal certification. So once I complete that, then we'll be working on some new pregnancy and postpartum stuff. This is a funny question.
Did I hold my legs up after?
Somebody asked if I held my legs up after we, you know.
Held your legs up after?
Like if I stood.
Oh, to let it just like saturate?
Let it just saturate. No, I did not. Because I didn't think that would help. I don't know. I did drink pomegranate juice because I have read, I don't even know, I don't know if it helped, but I'm going to tell them that I did that. It's supposed to thicken your uterine walls. I don't know if it works, but that's what I did. It doesn't hurt to try. Pomegranate juice is like $5 at Target. What?
You're funny.
What?
You and your research. She loves calling stuff research. She'll be like, we were at Target last night looking at diapers. She's like,
based on my research,
I was
like
researching and...
And Zach's like, by research, do you mean reading 40-year-old mom blogs? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I said reading mom blogs.
Yes. Exactly.
Like, okay,
That's research.
Call it whatever you want.
Market research. How did we know we were ready? Oh, we already answered that. Stop. Okay, the video cut out at 30 minutes, which I didn't know was going to be this long, so we have to refilm the last few questions. So, finding out gender, we did a sneak peek at 6.5 weeks, which I was really nervous about because I saw a lot of people that had like not enough Y chromosomes or whatever to test for a male, so it like kept coming back as girl. But we did it anyways because I was very excited and I couldn't wait. And then we did NIPT at 12 weeks and ultrasound. Our ultrasound tech could tell at 12 weeks that it was a girl. Zach actually, like, when she was like, oh, this is the girl, like you can see it right here. And Zach's like, oh, what is that? And she's like, what'd she say?
No, she's...
Her labia.
Yeah, she's like, do you see these lines? And I was like, oh, what are the lines?
Little bananas, yeah.
And she's like, her labia. I was like, oh.
Cool. So yeah, we also
Don't talk about my girl like that.
We also did the genetic testing, the NIPT test at 12 weeks, and that confirmed the girl too. So sneak peek was right at 6.5 weeks. I did the at-home test. I did the snap, not the lancet, the one that you do on your arm. It did not hurt at all. I take prenatals from Bomar Nutrition. I'll link them in the description box below. Okay, what are we both looking forward to the most?
Well, in the original take, I said, to be fair, the smell of her.
Because you smelled Dean, and you're like...
And then just like adding on to our family.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see what she looks like and see how our dogs like act around her and like how they treat her. I think they're gonna be, all of them are gonna be on my butt at all times. Like when I'm breastfeeding, I'm gonna have probably both dogs on my lap as well. And they're just gonna be kind of like very protective and just like wanting to be involved with her. I'm excited to see like when she's like in our room, like, you know, sleeping in our room, how they'll act when we have to like wake up and feed her and change her, like if they'll wake up, or if, I think at first they will, but then eventually they'll be like, okay, this happens all the time. Yeah. And then obviously like for our parents and everybody to meet her for the first time, I think I'll be crying. I'll be like so like excited. Okay, trying to conceive tips. I'm no pro at all. Like I said, we were only trying for 2 months, so
boiling pasta. That wasn't like me getting it.
We're boiling stuff for lasagna. I'm no pro at all. Like I said, I limited caffeine to limit my stress or reduce my stress. I tracked ovulation using the Pregmate/Premom ovulation strips, and I put them into the app to see when my peak was. I read a lot of books about like fertility and stuff, so I'll link those in the description box for you guys because those are like do a way better job at explaining everything and educating you better than I ever could. So I'll link those in the description box below because those help me out a ton. How has pregnancy affected my laser hair removal progress? So I will say that I didn't get to finish my laser hair removal journey, if you want to call it. I was supposed to get, I think, 3 or 4 more sessions, but with Milan laser, so I can't go to Milan right now because I don't have one near me, but they do unlimited for life. So even if it does affect my hormones affected, I can go back at any time for the price I originally paid. And if you do mention my name, I believe they give you 50 or 60% off, which is really cool. But I did a few down here too. And I will say I probably have about 30% of my hair still left. And some of them are a little bit lighter. So they told me that sometimes like that's why they keep growing back, because sometimes laser hair removal can't target the blonde hairs. So I will say that it still grows back, and it grows back faster now that I'm pregnant, if that makes sense. It's not like thicker or anything, it's just faster. So I noticed that I have to like shave a lot quicker than what I would before pregnancy. And my hair on my head too grows much faster, and like it's much thicker than before, which is great. So I have been getting like Brazilian waxes because I didn't realize up until recently how hard it was to actually like shave. I don't even have that big of a belly, but it does inhibit the view. Like I cannot see everything down there. So like I said, never understood that up until now, but now I get it. And so I've just been getting wax, and it's been great because I don't have to worry about it. So that's what I've been doing, and it's safe during pregnancy. Did we do any preconception blood work? I'm not sure if it cut off before this, so I'm just gonna answer this just in case. We did do preconception blood work, but not for like fertility reasons. We did it because my mom, when I was a baby, found out that I was a carrier for cystic fibrosis. At first they thought I had it, but it turned out that I was just a carrier for it. So my mom always told me that once I start, you know, having kids or wanting to try for a family, that my spouse has to be tested just to make sure like they're not a carrier, or if they were a carrier, then we would just go about like conceiving in a different way or with a genetic counselor to kind of talk through our options. So we both got tested, like a big panel of like genetic disorders and everything. It turns out that I am a carrier, so it confirmed that. And then Zach wasn't a carrier, so we didn't have to worry about that. And our genetic counselor basically said, all right, you guys can try and you don't have to worry about, you know, the potential of having a child affected by cystic fibrosis. So that was great. We did that in January. Did I stop tretinoin? Yes, because it has like known birth defects, I'm pretty sure. So I stopped using that. I keep my skincare super simple. My skin, it has been amazing this pregnancy. I'm really, really thankful for that. I keep it super simple with a like gentle foaming cleanser from CeraVe, It Cosmetics or First Aid Beauty moisturizer, and then some sunscreen. And sunscreen is really important because your skin is way more sensitive and also way more prone to burning. So that is something I never skip out on. How do you feel? I grew up thinking pregnancy was a bad thing my whole life. So someone asked that, and that's really sad to me because I never really thought of pregnancy as being a bad thing, but I was always a little bit worried about like how my body would change. So I will say that like that was something that I always worried about, but I never was like, oh, pregnancy is going to be like this terrible thing. I always thought it was like a very beautiful thing, and I was always in awe by, you know, pregnant women and how amazing and how strong they are, and, you know, giving birth, the whole 9 yards. So I feel good. I feel like everybody has a different experience. I feel like some people are miserable their entire pregnancy because they're really sick and they just don't feel their best. Some people love being pregnant. So I feel like I'm more on the side of I love being pregnant. I have had a positive experience. First trimester was a little bit rough for me, but like nothing that I couldn't handle. So yeah, I will say everybody's experiences are different, and I won't speak, you know, on anyone else's experience but my own, but I have had a positive, pretty much enjoyable pregnancy thus far. I'm gonna be 20 weeks on Sunday. So yeah, I think that everybody is different, and you might love it, you might hate it. It just depends, you know, on how you feel. I only want to give like, you know, my positive thoughts on it though, because that's been
I think that's like been like one of the most annoying things so far is like when you tell like people like congratulate you, but then like in their second breath it's like
just
get ready to never sleep again. It's like, you don't think that we don't know that that's stuff.
Everybody says stuff like that.
Annoying.
Like that's the thing. I think that would be the hardest thing about pregnancy is you get a lot of unsolicited advice, and a lot of it is negative. So yeah, I just know that I want to like, you know, change that up a little bit and just be positive, because we all know that there's going to be days where we're not going to sleep. We're going to be sleep deprived. We're like, our lives are going to be changing like forever. They're going to be forever changed. But it's such a beautiful thing too. And even with the sleepless nights, and we'll probably be miserable sometimes, it's still going to be like the most amazing thing that we've ever done. And that's what a lot of moms say. And I love the people that send me such positive messages like, just wait about this, but it's a positive message. It's not like, oh, just wait until you're sleep deprived and you hate each other and blah, blah, blah.
We're already at that stage.
So yeah, let's see. Was it hard to keep a secret?
Yeah.
Very hard. We told our sisters right away, and that's pretty much it. Oh, and then some really close friends, and then we waited to tell our parents till 8.5, 9 weeks because we wanted to tell them in person. And it was very hard, especially to keep a secret from like social media too, because I was not very active on social media. I didn't really feel the greatest, and I didn't feel like coming on my story and talking at all. So that was tough, and I feel like a few people caught on. Oh, people did want me to touch quickly on body image and like how things have changed. So I will say that I was always very nervous about my body changing, and my family gets stretch marks, so I knew I was going to get stretch marks. I don't have them yet, but I know that I'm going to get them, so I was always like, oh my gosh, then my body's going to be changed. Like, I've worked so hard to build the body that I have, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like that's just, I don't know, everybody worries so much about that, but I love having a bump, and I think my boobs look great. And that's been a great symptom of pregnancy, right?
Hell yeah, brother.
And so I have been less worried about like getting stretch marks and my body changing and me gaining weight, because I'm just like so thankful to even be pregnant. And I don't know, like I think once you are pregnant, it might be a little bit easier because I was always worried about that. But now that I am pregnant, I don't really think about that as much. I just try to feel my best. Like I try to move my body when I can, you know, eat vegetables when I can. Now that I'm in the second trimester, it's much easier than the first. Drink my water, take care of myself, and not just, you know, be lazy and make myself feel like, you know, a lazy pile. Because I feel like if I was just, you know, sitting on the couch all day and eating junk food still, I would feel like that. But because I'm doing my best to try to take care of myself for my baby and myself, I feel a lot better about my body image, if that makes sense. I know that there's still going to be days where I do feel like I've gained a lot of weight and whatnot. I feel big more towards the end, but I feel like I'm handling it a lot better than I thought I would be. And I like my butt and I like my big boobs. So, and I feel like my butt's getting bigger too. So I feel like everything's going great. I think that's it. Even though Zach didn't, bless you.
Thank you.
Your allergies are really bad.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, poor baby. Even though Zach didn't talk, you were here for moral support. I mean, you talked a little bit.
Not much.
It was mostly stuff that I had to answer. But thank you guys so much for listening and tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button down below so you never miss a video with us. We'll be doing a second trimester video probably sometime in September after we wrap up the second trimester. And then we have one more trimester yet left. I feel like it's flying by. We only have like 8 more weeks left in the second trimester. And then baby will be here before we know it. And I feel like time is already flying by, and when she's here, it's gonna fly by even faster. So let us know if you have any questions down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.